Hey guys, it's Nick Guillory here. Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for watching. And listen, I hope you clicked on this video because you are tired of not getting sponsored content. You're exhausted. You don't know what to do anymore. You're literally just like, oh shit, we're about to be in a recession and the brand deals are not hitting the same way they used to. Well, guess what? I'm glad that you clicked on this video because I'm here to help you, okay? I know that times are weird right now, but let's be real. I am here to save you, okay? I'm a talent manager and social media expert with 10 plus years of experience. Y'all see the grays. That makes me more distinguished, right? I'm gonna take you through 5 major things that I do with my clients to help them secure 6-figure brand deals. In the past year, I've worked with Gillette, Alaska Airlines, and more. The first thing is brands are, y'all, listen, let's have a real conversation here. At the end of the day, brands are not paying you for reach anymore. They are paying you for resonance. They are paying you for influence. They are paying you for engaged audiences and communities. Quite frankly, they want a storyline. They want a plot. Think of it as a reality television show, right? When you're watching reality TV, you're seeing a story playing out. It's keeping you to the end of the plot and then the conclusion. That is how you have to start looking at your content game. If you're not telling stories and you're not being authentic and you're not engaging with your community, brands don't want you anymore. So here are some ways you can mix it up and continue to hopefully build on that and get brands back in your inbox. All right, I always tell my clients that the best way to create bingeable content, which is going to create more engagement, is to serialize your content. You want to create content that kind of tells a story over time. So say you're moving somewhere. Well, there's one video right there, the announcement of the move. Then you're packing, the packing video. Then the moving truck video, the drama that goes along with all of that. You get the point there? So you want to kind of tell a story over time and make sure you're doing that in a serialized manner, because that is going to keep up with retention and keep your viewers coming back for more. Because at the end of the day, they want to know the end of the story. And it's always good to keep them kind of hanging on the end when you're telling that story. I was watching a video from one of my favorite vloggers the other day, and in the title of the video, their video said, blah, 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 and our apartment flooded. They put that at the end of their YouTube video and then kind of left it hanging a little bit. So we're now like, well, what happened to the apartment? Did it flood completely? Or how are you guys over the flood? They didn't even get into any of that. They left us kind of on a cliffhanger and they left us wanting more. That's what you want to do with your content. You want to create a situation or a scenario where the viewer is gonna want more. And also you can create playlists. That allows people to watch multiple videos from your content. I cannot stress enough. When I get looped into a creator that I like, I'm immediately looking at a playlist and watching more of their videos and really learning and seeing if there is potential to help manage them. So also to note, brands do this too. They will literally sit there and watch your content. So like if you're creating those playlists, make sure those playlists are obviously the power of a unique POV. Y'all, I can't stress enough. What do you stand for? At the end of the day, we are all human and we all have an opinion. We all have different mindsets. But the best part about that is someone else probably thinks the same way as you. So if you have that unique perspective and that unique opinion, share it. You never know who that is going to touch or who that is going to affect. Emotion is key in that sense as well. Sad, happy, explain how you're feeling in those situations, because that is when you ultimately become more relatable. And that's what you want with your audience. You want to become more relatable. Next, I am taking a look under the hood for y'all. I'm gonna show you what exactly I send off to brands when I'm pitching a client. Now, This is a media kit. We use a program called Foam. Foam is a program that basically kind of gives you a look into the demographics of an audience, tells a story about the creator you're using. Now, this data is just made up. It's not from a particular creator. I ain't trying to get sued, okay? So let's be clear, this is just made up data. I basically threw in random, actually this is from a demo from Foam. This is what it looks like when you would send it off with client information. But the most important parts to make note when you're sending these things off to brands is engagement. They basically want to see, you could have 8 million people, but are 8 million people engaged in your content? Probably not. But how much of that 8 million is engaged? Is it 0 or is it 1%, like 5%? You know, you want that percentage range to be around 5 to 6% and even higher. Also, most importantly, especially with YouTube videos, is the demos. You want a high US audience. US is still king in one way, not in the White House, honey. But at the end of the day, you want that US audience very high because that is what advertisers are looking for with a higher CPM, which means they're gonna pay you for more when you have that higher US audience. So to get that, create US-based content. That's how you get a more US-based following. So places to travel in America, US events, US trends, like things that are happening in America right now. Talk about that kind of stuff in your content. You're more likely to bring in more US eyeballs. And at the end of the day, followers count, follower count. Like at the end of the day, you could have thousands of followers that aren't engaged with your content. That doesn't mean you are the next best star influencer, blah, blah, blah. But if an engaged audience and you're more on the nano side or the micro side, brands are still looking at you. I get people that have less than 250,000 followers now. I know that's higher, but at the end of the day, like they've gotten 6-figure deals easily. So it doesn't really matter follower size. Again, matters engagement more. Think about that when you are pitching yourself. Don't be afraid to pitch yourself if you have 25,000 followers. You might have a unique story that they're looking for to tell. Okay, everybody always wants to know about setting rates. However, you need to keep watching this video because I'm gonna get to that at the end of this video. And I want that part to really be focused on the most because I know people have the most questions about that. So I want y'all to watch the whole video first and then get to setting rates because that's ultimately why you're here, I'm sure. All right, so pitching like a pro. And I have to be honest with you guys. Pitching clients is tough. Cold pitching is tough. You're literally a stranger writing a snail mail or an email rather to another stranger. And you have to look at it as an advertisement basically in their inbox. We get hundreds of emails every day. And the first thing that you're going to see is the subject line. And if the subject line is something very like boring or just plain, I'm not gonna read it most likely. I'm gonna read 3 seconds very quickly. If you say, hey dear, or hi babe, and the next part, I'm throwing that in the trash because I know it's BS. But if your subject line captures my attention and you can use tools like ChatGPT to help you come up with subject lines, it will be a better fit for you. Now, you should never pitch a brand without mentioning a specific product or campaign that they've done. You have to kind of convince them in that first paragraph or first sentence or something for them to keep reading on. And I've done short emails, I've done long emails, but works really best for me is putting a photo up at the top of the client. Maybe a collage, I've done collages, I've done just single headshots. I've done a mix of that, but I find works the best a simple headshot of them so they can see who you're talking about below that. Okay, you also want to investigate a little bit into the brand, right? You don't want to go into just pitching this brand and you don't know what you're talking about. So look up into the brand's website, learn their new products, click on news articles that they may have recently launched with, any sort of events that they've launched with. Just do a little like low-hanging fruit research. You can use ChatGPT for that as well. And I've said that a couple of times right now, and I want y'all to know that ChatGPT isn't going anywhere. You have to start using it to your benefit. These are perfect instances where you don't need to do that like mind work. Use ChatGPT to help you figure out the problems and solve those problems for you so you don't have to use that brain power to do it. Use it as your assistant, girl. Child, please. Anyway, so you also want to use resources like Venmo and LinkedIn. These are good resources to try to figure out a contact at the company. And that is where you're going to send that cold email that I already mentioned. I recently did a pitch for a client, and I did this pitch after the Super Bowl performance with Kendrick Lamar. Well, they not like us. They not like us. I used that as the subject line. And people were writing me back like, LOL, like, thank you for cheering up my Monday morning. And I wrote it like right Monday, Tuesday after the Super Bowl. So it's playing into like current events, news, pop culture, the zeitgeist, keeping on top of what's going on in the world, which is a mess, by the way. I don't know if you know. But, you know, trying to use those to tie in to different things might capture the attention of someone and get them to open your email quicker. And don't be afraid to use ChatGPT to help you write the actual email. However, a couple things with that. I will say use that as like a skeleton. Don't per se use exactly how it has it written. People are now like getting a little smarter with the AI emails, and they can tell when it's AI. So mix it up a little bit, get rid of those in dashes. You know what I mean. You know what they look like. Curate it to make it look a little bit more personable. Like I said, use some flair with current events or emojis. Jazz it up, make it sexy, make it cute, make it fab, make it fun. Okay. And then secondly with that, what? Oh, the art of the follow-up, right? Because at the end of the day, people are busy. They get thousands of emails a week. They're not going to most likely answer your first email. However, I was stunned when one of my clients I pitched out to dozens of brands a few weeks ago, and a major brand from a cold email responded to me, and I was shook because I was just like, oh my God, like I did not expect any responses at all, because at the end of the day, it's strength in numbers, right? The recommendation there is get as many cold emails out as possible in the time that you're trying to get more brand deals, because at the end of the day, most people are not gonna respond. It's sad, but I don't know what's going on in the corporate world, but people just do not respond anymore. Like, do y'all remember that when people had to respond to every email that they got? What happened to those times? They are gone. People are not responding anymore. And it's becoming more and more. People will either just fall off, they will get a new job, or they just don't care. It's true, and I have to tell those things to clients too. I'll be honest with you, people do not answer emails like that. But don't let that bother you. Keep pushing and keep emailing, because someone is eventually going to answer you. Look, that example that I just gave you, I was not expecting that brand to email me back, and they did. And I'm glad they did, because we actually set a meeting after that email. And through that meeting, we were able to secure potential opportunity for an ambassadorship, which means they are going to have multiple deals with this particular brand. And that means cha-ching. Okay, on to platform trends and monetization shifts. Okay, the big elephant in the room, y'all. Nobody wants to have this conversation, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. We are in weird times right now. It's weird. The brand deals are not what they used to be. The money is not what it used to be. And I feel like we're all kind of living in a little bit of delusion. At the end of the day, we may be facing a recession. We may be facing economic hardships coming up. And the fact of the matter is brands are not spending the way they used to. So I swear to God, this woman like hates me. I feel like she knows when I start talking and she starts hammering. I just truly don't understand. As a creator, you have to get very unique with your income streams, right? You cannot solely be reliant on a platform or on sponsored content. I spoke more about this in a video on my channel, so take a look at it and study it very closely because there are other revenue streams that you need to be taking advantage of in 2025. For instance, affiliate marketing is major. It is definitely going to be on the incline this year after all is said and done. And listen, don't be afraid of LinkedIn. I know people crap on LinkedIn all the time. They say they don't like it, what's going on over there. But at the end of the day, you should be posting all of the sponsorships that you are in, tagging the brand, being excited, being proud of your work. Think of LinkedIn as your portfolio to all of the professional working folks out there, right? Those folks that are on LinkedIn are the folks that are booking these campaigns. So you never know, your content might spin up in the algorithm to other people that are looking for people and find you, and you might get another brand deal out of it. So stop frowning upon LinkedIn and use it to your benefit. And don't sleep on those little influencer marketplaces either. Marketplaces like #paid and obviously are still booking people and getting people paid. I just got an offer for one of my clients for over, I would say it's a 5-figure deal, and it's from one of those marketplaces. So sign up to those marketplaces. You can just Google, Aspire is one as well. Google like a list of them and just sign up. I know it's annoying to connect your stuff to it, but you never know what can come of those marketplaces. Literally just got a 5-figure deal from one of them. So don't sleep on those marketplaces, baby. All right, we're almost there. I know you guys are still hanging on and you really want to know about setting your rate. I'm going to get to it after this. Trust me, bear with me, y'all. I know y'all are hungry, honey. All right, so this is all about relationship building. The fact of the matter is influencing is, yes, very that, but it's also a lot about relationship building. I love connecting with people in this industry, and I also hate it. At the end of the day, some people are very forthright with things, and some people just kind of skirt you along. You have to have thick skin and like, honestly, kind of like you have to take your emotions out of it because you cannot keep your emotions in it or it will drive you absolutely bonkers, crazy. So at the end of the day, if people don't respond to you, just don't give up. Just keep going. Just keep emailing. Someone will eventually write you back and you will be so happy that they did. But here's a good way to stay on people's radars. You want to reply to DMs, show up at events, and soft pitching on LinkedIn, like I kind of already mentioned, and creating content after the collab, right? So whenever you have a collab with someone, great, but stay on their radar by consistently tagging them in stories or posts just to keep in their inbox, because at the end of the day, that's just going to that social media manager person and they're probably gonna be like, oh, who is this Samantha girl? She's always posting about us. We should hit her up. Oh wait, we already worked with her. Oh, well, let's work with her again. So at the end of the day, it's how do we stay on that brand's radar once we've worked with them? And that is a good way to do it. Another good way to do this is get ready with me content, also day in the life content, and just different story times that you may have throughout your life. Infusing those brands within that content, great and easy way to incorporate brands in that particular content. Also, I encourage all of my people that I work with to do regular Q&As in stories. This is a great way to include multiple brands in multiple stories and tag them while you do so. Now, you don't have to put their tag right up in the front because that's not getting paid for, right? You can tag them and then slide it off, and that makes sure that they are seeing it, but you're not necessarily advertising them. So that's a good way to do it and not like boom, boom, you know what I mean? Finally, to the part that you've been dying for, and thank you for watching all the way to this part. I really appreciate it. And before I get to this, make sure you smash that subscribe button because again, this has been packed with information and I'm just giving you all the secrets for free. So what you can do for me, which is also free, is hit that subscribe button. And you can tell my voice is getting scratchy because I've been talking all day. But here we go. I'm sorry, I'm getting to the rates. Okay, so here's what I always do. Tried and true secrets that always ensure that I end up with a high rate for my clients. I usually rate based on the brand, and I try to give them a range, right? With keeping in mind that I don't want to scare them away, right? But I also want to give them kind of an idea ballpark range, right? So say you got Off, I'm looking at an Off. Like, that's a good brand. I believe they have like Johnson & Johnson backing. They got money. So I'm gonna probably do $20K for a reel story set and some usage and exclusivity. That, or maybe 2 reels with that. That sounds good. But how do you make that stronger and maybe get more money out of the brand? Give them a range. So then you go to like, let me see if I can get them to like 22K. So I'll give them a range of like 22K to 25K. And it's not a big range either. The smaller the range, the less options they have to choose from. So you want to give them like a small window, and that gives, it's just like a brain trick to give them like less ideas or less decision making. The easier you make it for them, the better. So 22 to 25K, boom. Okay, we can do 23K. All right, they met us in the middle there. And then the power of negotiation, right? Whenever a brand doesn't land on the number you want, well, that's unfortunate. But it's fortunate because now you have some bargaining power. Now you can take that number that they're now giving you, which might be much lower, and take off usage, take off another asset. Make your lives easier. If they're not gonna pay you for what you want, then make your lives easier and charge them with give them less deliverables. Because if they're not gonna give you your rate for what they originally pitched, then, okay, sweetie, then what are we doing here? We gotta go lower with the deliverables. And every single deliverable counts. If they like to throw in some last minute collab, oh no, babes, that's 3K, 5K. Do not ever let a brand get away with sneaking in last minute little like latch-ons. No. We did not agree to that in the original offer. So we will not be agreeing to doing that for free now. You have to be firm with these folks. They will try to get over on you, and you can't let them. Oh, and I wanted to say, when I rate, I base that on a few things. I base it on my client's following, my client's engagement, and my client's notoriety. What I mean by that is, okay, so listen. So a client might have 100,000 followers, but they've been on a reality show recently. Well, that is more increased relatability, more notoriety. They've been exposed to millions of eyeballs. So when I put them in an ad that you're gonna be putting some ad money behind, people are gonna recognize them, which means that influence is higher, even though their following isn't higher. You see what I'm saying? So you need to rate accordingly. That is a sneaky secret to use when you don't have a higher following, but you might have more notoriety. You've got to rate based on all factors, right? Everything has to come together in that pie when you're putting that number out there. Should I teach a class on that? Are you more interested in rating, negotiating? What are the things that are driving you crazy right now? I want you to comment right now any questions you have for me, and I'll answer them in future videos. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope this video was helpful. If it was, share it with your creator friends. We are not finna get caught up in recession world with this whole influencing thing. We can all help each other by sharing information and creating community around this and creating a conversation around it. It's not nothing to be scared about. We're gonna all be okay. So thank you for watching, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.